Hello and welcome to another episode of Hump Day Yoga with MimiLumi Presents. I wanted to do something a little bit different today. So obviously normally would try to take you through a reasonably traditional vinyasa flow, but today instead I thought it would be interesting to show you the sequence of stretches that I do every morning when I first get out of bed. Literally roll out of bed. I might go to the bathroom first, but then I'm straight onto the floor, sit in my pajamas, doing these sequence of stretches. And I think there's a really sort of common misconception that if you are a really dedicated yogi or you're a teacher, that means that you're doing like an hour and a half every day of really, really dynamic vinyasa flow. A vinyasa or asana is only a part of your yoga practice anyway. So if that's sort of what you're doing every day, I would question why you're focusing so strongly on your asana practice. And B, who's got the time for that? I have a full-time job outside of all of my teaching commitments, and then I also try to have a life where I can. So I don't have time to necessarily dedicate a really long asana practice every day. I need to find those little moments of time where I can open and work through my body and center myself. So I usually will always do 1 or 2 a week minimum of longer practices, but I wanted to show you the sequences that I do every day to just help me become human. And that's another point that I wanted to make, is that I'm really not a morning person. I'm not a very classical yogi in that way. I don't bound out of bed and feel ready to start doing some headstands. I'm very blurry headed in the morning. It takes me a while to find that focus, and I'm often very physically stiff and sore and uncomfortable first thing in the morning, which I attribute to the kind of work that I do and years and years and years of doing a lot of dance. I just have a lot of overuse injuries in my body, which does mean that when I wake up in the morning, I tend to be a bit uncomfortable. Apparently as well, I've had a physio tell me that when I fall asleep at night, I literally let all of my bones and my muscles collapse in on each other. And she's like, that's why you're always so sore and tight when you wake up in the morning. So that's fun. So I just wanted to guide you through this little sequence. It's relatively short. I do this every morning. I might make it a little longer sometimes. I might cut it a little short occasionally if I'm running late, but I normally try to hit every one of these little moments of stretches, and they're very targeted to things that suit my body, but hopefully you'll also find them applicable to you in a really enjoyable way to start your morning. So without further ado, let's start. Just one last little quick disclaimer. I wanted to let you know that I haven't done any stretching either before I've done this. So this is me first thing in the morning, throwing on yoga gear, jumping out here to teach this for you. So you'll hear the groans, the clicks, the snaps as I move my body as well. Enjoy. So depending on how my lower back is feeling, I'll start seated cross-legged or lying down on the floor. And this is something that I do when I first wake up in the morning. So I don't even get out my yoga mat. I'm literally just straight on the floor. Obviously, that's my personal choice. If you prefer to have the padding of the yoga mat, please do so. But I'm going to start cross-legged today. So like any yoga practice, I begin by closing my eyes and just taking some awareness to my breath. Breathing in and out through my nose. And just really take a few centering breaths. So I'm not trying to particularly manipulate the breath here. I'm just noticing its natural rhythm and texture. I might work into the Ujjayi breath if that feels comfortable for me, the audible constricted breath, or equally I'll just keep it easy, natural and free. And I'll check in to see how I'm feeling physically, mentally and emotionally. What are my energy levels like? And I'll just cast my awareness and a sense of mindfulness to those things. Now, if I happen to be up quite early, I might continue this breath work for a little bit longer, but if I'm pressed for time, I might just leave it there. And then I'll just start by drawing my chin towards my chest. Whew. And I can already feel my spine protesting. So holding it here, just letting gravity do the work. I don't need to put my hands behind my head because gravity is enough already. Really try to relax through the back of my neck. So even though they say your spine is always at its longest point in the morning when you've just woken up after lying down, I always personally feel that it's not true for myself. I always feel like my spine feels so tight in the morning, and I can really feel this here, like I can feel it shooting down in towards my lower back as well. So I'm going to grip onto my hands, and I'm even going to rock my weight back on my tailbone slightly, just to deepen that stretch across my spine. Nice. And then I'm just going to trace little circles with my chin, or semicircles with my chin over my chest, so that I'm changing that stretch through the back of my neck. I'm beginning to ease some tension there. Good. Pausing wherever you feel like, oh yes, that's a really nice sweet spot. Chin comes back towards the center of the chest, and then I'm going to bring my spine back to neutral and lift my gaze. And then exhale, just take left ear down towards the left shoulder, stretching out through the right side of the neck. Couple of breaths here. This side of my neck's feeling fairly open, so I am going to bring my hand towards the outside edge of the right side of my head, just to bring a little bit of extra weight into the stretch. And then I'll release my hand back, inhale to center, exhale. It's the right ear towards right shoulder this time, left side of the neck getting stretched in again. Now I'll take my right hand, just use that little bit of weight onto the left side of my head to deepen the stretch. And hand releases, inhale back to neutral. I'll move through 3 rounds of my circle of joy, and I can always tell if I come to prayer and my wrists are sensitive, even prayer will feel a little uncomfortable. So if that's the case, I might interlace my fingers so that they're like a steeple, squeeze my fingers together to activate those long muscles in my fingers, and then I might just give them like a little bit of a twist. Just trying to activate some muscles through the tops of my hands, so it's not just the bottom of my palm or wrist that's working. And then I'll interlace the fingers fully, and I'll just give my hands a little bit of a figure of 8 pattern here. Just to warm up through my wrists, reversing that flow as well. Just trying to get rid of those kinks. And then I might do some flicks of my fingers. Again, I'm trying to really activate through the extenders of my fingers. Depending on how I feel, a shake might feel nice. Actually, that's not too bad today. If they're feeling really sensitive and a shake is painful, then I'll just give them a little gentle massage. My wrists are a real trigger area for me. They need a lot of love. Good, so now I come back to prayer and I can feel, yeah, they're just a little bit happier sitting there now. So I can move through my circle of joy, interlace fingers. Inhale, big open heart breath, resisting with the fingertips. Exhale, we press the spine away, curve, palms reaching forward, chin to chest. Inhale, sitting up nice and tall, working the hands up towards the sky, shoulders away from my ears. Exhale, hands come behind, interlace fingers. Inhale, big open heart breath, and I'm not going to look up just yet. Exhale, hands come back to prayer. 2 more times, interlace fingers, inhale. Trying to lift my ribcage away from my pelvis. Exhale, pressing curve away. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, hands come behind, interlace those fingers. Inhale, big open heart breath. I'm working my wrists together here. Maybe I feel comfortable to lift my gaze now, maybe not. Exhale, those hands come to prayer. And now I'm going to change the cross of my fingers. So left fingers forward for me personally. Inhale, big open heart breath. Exhale, we press and curve away. Inhale, sit up nice and tall, working those hands above the head. Exhale, the hands come behind, keeping my opposite cross here. And then inhale, work wrists together, chest forward. Exhale, the hands come back. Now here I'll interlace the fingers so that my palms are now facing in towards me. And it's like I'm trying to imagine I'm drawing my wrists apart whilst keeping the fingers connected. And I can feel that that's moving my shoulder blades or my scapula out. So if I turn, you might be able to see just that subtle shift. And I'll also maybe drop my chin towards my chest. So I'm really getting into those tight sore muscles in between my shoulders. because apparently I tend to sleep like I'm collapsed, and so I'm trying to open and broaden myself back up. I'll take a couple of nice deep breaths in and out here. Good. And then release, hands back to knees. Now, I might come into a little side crescent stretch if I'm feeling tight through the sides of my torso, but they're feeling okay at the moment. So instead, I'm just going to take my weight back for a second, change to cross on my legs because I've been sitting that way for a while. Inhale my arms up towards the sky. And then exhale, reach forward. Very, very simple spinal twist. And you can see I'm quite far away from my legs. If I was warmer, I would normally be able to come a lot closer. But I'm feeling this really strongly in around my hips and my buttocks, but also through the spine. So I'm going to let my spine curve a little. I'm going to drop my chin towards my chest. I'm going to really just try to surrender down towards gravity as I allow these parts of my body to open up. One more deep breath in. And then as I exhale, I'm just going to roll up through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Now I'm going to come to lie down onto my back. Now, I'm a bit of a rebel, I don't want to just whack myself down, but I would recommend that you actually use your hands to slowly lower yourself down, be a little bit kinder, more gentle to your body. And then from here, I'll lengthen out my left leg and draw my right knee in towards my chest. And I'll give this ankle a couple of circles. And you might not be able to hear it, but I can hear it. It's clicking and cracking like crazy. And I'll go in the other direction. Good. And then it's an active bicep curl as I draw right knee in a little bit more to the chest. And I'm trying to think about the back of this left thigh melting in towards the floor. Holding it here. There. And then I'll draw right knee out a little bit more towards my right armpit. So I'm getting into a bit more of a groin stretch. I'm just going to shift a little bit so you can see. From here, I'm trying to imagine that my left hip bone and my left buttock is really grounding down into the mat. And I'll do a little bit of a core activator by releasing this leg, and then I'll try to come into my full rotation, my full external rotation. And now I'll extend my leg out long, off the floor, and then I'll lower it back down. So I've just engaged my cores, and I've also engaged my inner thigh muscles, so this I see, I'm feeling nice and active. And then I'll take it on the other side. So left knee comes in, and again, a couple of circles of my ankle. Oh, this one's really gristly this morning. Exhale, see if I can draw it a little closer while I'm still engaging and lengthening out through the back of my right knee. And then again, I'm drawing left knee a little bit more out towards left armpit, encouraging this right hip and buttock to be pressing down in towards the floor. And then again, exhale, I'll engage my core muscles and I'll come into my full external rotation. Lengthen my leg out long, trying to keep my hips and pelvis square, and then I lower it back down. So that feels really nice for me. I might do that a couple of times actually if I'm enjoying the way that's activating through my pelvis. Or I might just do it the once. Depends on how I feel. Now I'll bend my knees in and lift and lengthen my right leg up towards the sky. So I'm at about 90 degrees right now, but I don't know if you can see, but my leg is definitely not completely straight. And that's because the nerves that run through the back of my knee right now are feeling very tight first thing in the morning. So I'll take my hands underneath and interlace them at the back of my right thigh and flex this foot. And I'm going to take a couple of little pulse stretches here. So basically this is what we call like a sliding stretch for the nerves. So I'm just going to work towards straightening my leg and then soften it back off again, straight into a bend. And it's not a huge movement. You're not moving really fast. You have to be careful that you're not kind of like bouncing the leg. It should feel like a slide. Yeah, like it's a rubber band that you're slowly stretching, pulling in and out. And I'll do that a few times with my foot sort of square or parallel, and then I'll change the angle. So I'll turn my toes out. So now I'm in a little bit of an external rotation, and I'll take a couple of pulses there, and that's going to hit a different part of the back of my knee. And then I'll come back towards parallel, and then I'll work through internal rotation. So now my toes are pointing up towards my left shoulder, and I might even just slightly cross that leg over my center line of my torso. And I can really feel it coming through the outside edge of the right thigh. And again, I'll take a couple of little pulses there. Then I'll come back through center. I might even lengthen left leg out. And I'll keep the leg quite bent, but I'll draw it really far in towards my chest. So I'm coming more in towards this big chunky hamstring muscle here. Working it back and in. So you can see I'm definitely not straight leg here. That's not what my priority is. I was focusing on the back of my knee before, now focusing up on this big meaty part of my hamstring here. Might even take a couple more circles through my ankle if that feels nice. And then I'll change over. So right leg comes down, left leg comes up, and again you can see it's super bent. Yeah, hands behind the thigh. Couple of little pulses. So this is my tight leg today, I can tell. I'm finding it really hard to completely straighten that leg in the sliding stretch. So I do anywhere between like 8 to 12 pulses. And then again, stop. I move into external rotation, so my toes are pointing out away from me. And then again, I continue. And they're super, super small. You can barely see that my leg is moving, but I can really feel it through the back of my knee. I had a fantastic physio show me how to do this pose once, and it's really helped me through some issues that I have with my tendons in the back of my knee. Back through parallel, and now I'll go to internal rotation, so now my toes are pointing out towards my right shoulder, and I might even cross my leg a little bit over my center line. And then again, a couple of little pulses. Yeah, this is the really tight side for me today. Whew. And while you do this, really try to relax through your shoulders, your neck and face. There's no point in trying to do the stretch and you're tensing out through the upper body. Good. And then I'm going to lengthen that leg out. And then again, quite a nice bent leg. I'm focusing more on trying to bring the top of my thigh in towards my chest so that I'm stretching more into that lower meaty part of my hamstring muscle. I'll just take a couple of breaths here. And again, maybe I want to circle my ankles a couple of times. Good. And then I come back down. Now I also always like to start every morning with at least one abdominal exercise, just to kind of fire up those muscles, to help me feel like I'm setting through my core and my pelvis, to lead me into the day. I find if I don't do something, even just one set in the morning, I can really feel later on in the day that my pelvis just feels unstable, and I'll often feel a bit of tenderness in my lower back. So this is all stuff that we've done before in class, and I really like to do my alternate toe taps first thing in the morning, because it's just, again, really developing that connection between my ribs and my hips, and how the torso wraps and communicates and kind of has that conversation. So trying to move so that you can see me as much as you can. But we bring those knees up now so that the knees are above hips and the shins are about parallel to the floor beneath us. Arms reaching up towards the sky. You might even like to inhale to reach the fingers up, and then exhale, draw the shoulders back so that you're really pressing the scapula or the shoulder blades into the floor. And I'm trying to hollow out from my belly. So first thing in the morning for me, this is already like really firing off my abdominal muscles. But then we move. So we exhale to take the left toes towards the floor as we bring the right hand back, and then inhale back through center. Exhale, the right toes come down and the left hand comes back, and then we inhale back through center. And you'll notice as I do this, I'm moving nice and slow and steadily. I'm not racing through it. And at no point do my toes or my fingers or hands actually touch the floor. They work towards it, but they don't touch, because if you touch, no matter your intentions, your muscles will switch off. They'll be like, hard work is done. The ground is here to support me. Yeah, I want them to be on the whole time. And you'll notice that as this foot drops, I'm not drawing my opposite knee in closer towards my chest to compensate. Yeah, I'm trying to keep that load even. We don't want to see this kind of action, yeah, of the legs. We're not riding a bicycle, yeah, we're tapping our toes, like we're testing the water temperature. So I might do 10 to 12 reps of that. And then when I'm done, I'll draw my knees in towards the chest to give them a really nice hug and squeeze, and a little bit of a rock from side to side to massage my lower back. Depending on how I'm feeling, I might do it again, or I might try a different abdominal exercise, which I'm going to do now. I might lengthen my legs out long, take my hands behind my head, interlace the fingers. And again, I'm really trying to think about hollowing out through my belly as much as possible. And I'm going to take little cross body twists. And I'm not going to lower my head, neck and shoulders off the floor if I can. So I'll take a deep breath in. And then exhale, I lift up and I'm reaching left fingers towards right toes. And then I inhale back through my center line. See how my head, neck and shoulders are still up. And then I exhale to reach my right fingers towards left toes. And I continue. Inhale to center. Exhale to twist. Inhale to center. Exhale to twist. So this is a good one because your hands are behind your head, so you're feeling quite supported. And it's kind of like a little rolling abdominal exercise. So I can really feel it activating through my obliques and my lower abdominals. And I'm moving quite slowly, so I'm not trying to just let my momentum take me. And I really try to think about drawing fingers towards my toes. Good. 2 more. And then I'll lower back down, and again, I'll draw my knees in towards the chest to just give them a little hug and squeeze, and a little rock from side to side. Just to relax through the lower back. So from there, I always love to give my glutes, my hips, and my pelvis a bit more of a stretch. So I'll come into my thread the needle. So I'll bring my left leg on top of my right with this left foot flexed. So I'm creating this like little 4 shape through my leg. And then I'll exhale, I'll contract my core muscles, draw my right thigh in towards my chest, and wrap my hands around the back of my thigh, or maybe the top of the knee if that feels better for you. And then exhale. Draw that right thigh in a little tighter towards the chest. So again, I'm still warming up here, so I'm not expecting a huge range of motion or movement. I'm really just trying to open up through those rotator muscles. And I might take my left elbow and use it to help encourage my left knee to point a little bit more straight out to the side. And then I'll usually rock very gently from side to side with the pelvis. And I'll notice just how that changes the stretch through that left hip joint and left hip socket. Feels like a nice little massage, really. Okay. Then I'll come back through center, and then I'll change over. So right foot comes down, I change the cross, the left foot comes down as well, and then the right foot comes up into the figure of 4, foot flex. Exhale, it's the contraction of the core muscles, which guides the left thigh in towards my chest, and I find my grip with my hands wherever is comfortable. Right elbow leading the right knee a little bit more out to the side. Relax through the neck and the shoulders. And I'll take a few breaths here. In and out. Okay. Maybe a little rock from side to side. Massaging through that hip joint. Good. Coming back to center and stillness. Take that left foot down and cross the right. And now that might be enough. Well, some days I might come into a happy baby posture as well. And just take a couple of breaths there, decompressing through the lower spine. Maybe a little rock from side to side as well. Make sure that you feel that the soles of the feet are flat towards the ceiling. And those knees are drawing down in towards the chest. And the shins are parallel. So sometimes what I see with happy baby is in an effort to hold onto the feet and to try to draw the knees closer, people come into this almost like frog-like posture. So it's like a riff on Supta Baddha Konasana. And now that feels nice, but it's not really the point of happy baby. Happy baby, you want to stay parallel, and you want to have that deep hip compression. And that inner groin stretch. Yeah. With the shins and the legs staying relatively parallel. Good. Lovely. Now that's normally the last of the things I would do lying down. And then from here it gets a little bit fast and loose, depending on how I'm feeling. I might have already run out of time. I might have to start getting ready for work, and then I'll end it there. If I have a little bit more time, then I'll come into some more lower leg stretches. I might work into a bit of a stretch from my Achilles. So your Achilles is that muscle that runs right into the ankle and your lower calf. And I don't know if you can see this very well, but I've essentially just got my foot in quite close into my calf, and I'm leaning my weight over left knee. And by doing so, I'm getting that little stretch through the Achilles. Some people that I've taught this pose to don't feel anything at all. You must have fantastic Achilles, well done. But if you feel it, you'll know what I mean. It feels really good. It's so simple, but you can feel that really deep stretch in that Achilles muscle. Good. So once I've done the Achilles stretch on the left leg, I might bring that left foot forward and come into a very simple low lunge. Obviously patting that right knee if I need to. I'm thinking about drawing my right thigh a little bit higher, closer up towards left foot. And I'm just holding here. Nothing fancy, I'm not even taking my arms off. I really just want to focus on that stretch through my right hip flexor. I might even come down, because sometimes that just changes the stretch in the part of the hip flexor. It's nice to experience both. Ooh, actually I can really feel it in there today. Ooh. And then I'll just ease off, and then I'll come and do the other side. So now my right foot in is nice and close and tight, and I'm stretching that Achilles. I'm really relaxing over my front foot. And then right foot comes forward, and I come into my little supported low lunge. Again, I'm trying to draw the front of my left thigh up towards my front right foot, or towards the short end of my mat if I have my mat there. And I'll take a couple of breaths with my arms up, and then a few breaths in supported low lunge. So I can just really kind of relax into it. Relax through the back of my neck. Might even just sway a little bit from side to side, bearing in mind if that feels comfortable for your knee. Very tight hip flexors today. Good, and then I'll use my hands again to help press myself off. And then I might come into an extended child's posture, if that feels nice. Or I might like to come into puppy posture. So remember, puppy posture is where your hips are above your knees, and then you guide your heart center down. So it's a very, very deep heart opener, and works to stretch the shoulder girdle. Maybe I'll even bend my elbows, bring my hands to parent heart center, and come into a little bit of a shoulder and upper arm stretch. Working those fingers towards the back of my spine. Just depends on what I'm really feeling I need to stretch the most for. And then inhale, I'll come back up. Now, controversial, I often don't even do a downward facing dog in the morning. Partly because I'll often run out of time by this point and I have to go on and proceed with my day. But also it's because I normally do this straight out of bed in my pajamas, and my pajamas are not the best thing to wear for a downward dog. But I'm in my yoga gear today and I have the time, so I'm going to come into a little downward dog. And again, I'm going to think more about keeping my knees nice and bent to start, focusing more on that connection of my fingers towards the floor, pressing every knuckle and pad of the hand into the floor, rotating my shoulders out and up my spine, sending my tailbone up to the sky, pushing the earth away from me. Then I might begin to walk and open up through the back of my legs, alternate heel presses. Going to stillness maybe, or maybe I want to keep moving, taking my pelvis to either side. Good. But eventually I will return to stillness, just take a couple of breaths in my downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then I'll either walk my feet towards my hands or my hands back towards my feet, doesn't really matter. Maybe a combination of the two. And I come to a standing forward fold. And I really keep my knees nice and bent for this first fold. I'm still feeling a little bit tight, even after all that, because it's still first thing in the morning for me. I'll give my head a few nods and shakes, just to release any tension that's still there. And then I'll inhale to a halfway lift. Definitely hands to shins at this time in the morning. No way am I doing fingertips to the floor. And I really think about extending out through the crown of my head and bringing the weight forward into my toes, so that I'm not leaning backwards. Exhale, I'll soften back down. Knees soften once more. And then I might come up again. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, soften. And then from here, I will always roll up through my spine, whether that's through neutral or through sway. Today I'm going to go through neutral. And I'm going to try to make it super, super slow. Inhaling up, shoulders and head last. And I might just take a couple of minutes to hold and just reacquaint myself with my breath and my body, just see how I feel before I continue on with my day. So there you have it. Those are the little collection of stretches that I do every morning when I first wake up. I probably tend to do them a little bit quicker than I just demonstrated for you then, but I wanted you to kind of have a chance to really look at them and follow along with me slowly. But honestly, those are the things that I need to do to just become human in the morning, and then I can go about my day. I do them even before I go to a studio to go to a class, or definitely before I turn on the camera and start teaching any online classes as well. I can already feel, I just feel just a little bit more human and me, a little bit more open. So now I feel like I'm ready to go and have breakfast. It's my day off today actually, so I might go for a little walk. I just feel like my body is ready to receive the day. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if some of these stretches are things that you do already do, or if they're completely new to you. And if you have any trigger areas in your body that you wake up every morning and you think, oh, this spot or this part of my body just feels always really stiff or really sore, please do let me know, because I can give you some suggestions of things, because this was very much targeted to my body and what it needs, but everybody is unique and individual, so I'd love to hear from you. But that's it for me today. I hope you have a wonderful morning or day, depending on when you're watching this, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.